for the battle between Collingwood and the West Coast Fever. We join our commentators, Sherelle McMahon, and for the first time, we welcome Jack Heverin.
Thank you very much, Chris. This is a hugely important game for both teams. Collingwood home game, West Coast Fever on the road, Sherelle McMahon, for the first time in a month.
Yeah, well, that's right, and I'm sure that they love coming to Melbourne here. They all talk about the coffee and the shopping here, so I'm sure they've had a bit of good time there. And you know, the Magpies here create such a great atmosphere. The lights come down and it's a real element of theatre. I spoke before the game about this mid-court for the Magpies. I think that, you know, the pressure is on them. I think that this is their chance to really step up, and it could springboard the rest of their season if they have a good win and find some good form in this game.
The mid-court's important, but of all of the matchups tonight, the one that seems the most important is Courtney Bruce taking on Caitlin Thwaites, who's been unbelievable in Suncorp Super Netball.
She has. She's just been outstanding and really holding the front line for the Magpies up. And Courtney Bruce in some really wonderful form as well. We just caught a glimpse of Shani Layton and that matchup with Kaylia Stanton as well, and that is a big one. Kaylia Stanton a couple of weeks ago came up against Jiva Mentor and was sent to the bench. So we'll have a look to see whether she's learnt about playing on those big defenders in the big games.
It is the first game of round 8, a very, very important round for a lot of our teams. Collingwood with the centre pass. Kim Rebellion to get things underway. Great crowd in attendance tonight at Hisense Arena. And Collingwood, Sherelle, will want to start positively.
They absolutely will. And at the moment, they're using their patience. I mean, it's very early. We'll see how they work this ball through.
Maddie Robinson to Kim Rebellion. Early look for Caitlin Thwaites. Nice pass from Robinson. Thwaites is on the board. Collingwood are on the board.
Well, and that is just what she's been doing all season. We mentioned before the game, her partner, it's Alice Teague-Neal tonight. The Magpies have toyed around with that position, playing a few different names there. Shay Brown is a big one who normally plays in wing defence. So, you know, Alice Teague-Neal gets that nod, and tough for her, I would think, coming back. But I think she's the type of player who'll just take it and run with it.
Shay Brown starting on the interchange, as is Cody Lange. So it's Alice Teague-Neal who gets the first opportunity. Shani Layton getting involved, as only Shani knows how. Kaylia Stanton with the miss. Collingwood on transition straight away. Brantley finds Teague-Neal. An interception, terrific interception, Verity Charles.
Wasn't that a beautiful read of that play, just coming through with great timing. Sets the Fever up again, gives them another chance.
And for the nerves of Alice Teague-Neal, that won't help. Fever into attack, Stanton in good position. And she makes up for the earlier miss.
Yeah, and how's that for the confidence, just going over the top of Shani Layton and nailing her first shot. What a start for Kaylia Stanton.
Plenty of noise tonight. Very pro Collingwood crowd, as you can imagine, at Hisense Arena. Rebellion on the edge of the circle.
And their goal attack.
Fever looked confident early on. Medhurst to Charles, then back to Medhurst. 1-2 once again. Nice pass from Natalie Medhurst.
You say they look confident, and that certainly started in their match against the Thunderbirds last week. They had some great speed and ball handling and movement in their play. Maybe under more defensive pressure tonight. We'll wait and see.
Fast start. Collingwood lose possession. 2 apiece early in this first quarter. Jess Anstis to Bruce.
I love watching Ash Brazel play. She just wears her player, and she was then just put out a play.
There's Shani Layton.
That's what she does best, just hunting at the back there. That will put some doubt in the Fever front line. That's exactly what she wants to do.
Great call, Sherelle. You can see straight away after that a little bit of doubt with the West Coast Fever, the way they're feeding inside the circle. That's a nice pass.
What a setup there by Kaylee Stanton. Just read that space and the swing to the top of the circle. But here's Shani Layton coming out hard, just slightly late on that. But she'll be finding that, don't worry, as this game goes on. Stanton
with the long ball is offline. Collingwood quickly bring the ball back in. Brownlee to Revaliant, now Robinson. Alice Teague-Neal retreats back to Brownlee. And Revaliant looking for Thwaites, instead went for Teague-Neal. No one touched that ball.
No, and really great work by Courtney Bruce, just confusing the space in behind Caitlin Thwaites and force that ball over the baseline.
It's the Fever by 1. As they work their way out of their defensive third. Courtney Bruce with the key matchup tonight on Caitlin Thwaites.
How's this defensive pressure though, Jack, from the Magpies, and it's a tip there, a Fever throw in. The Fever have just got it over their defensive transverse line. It is tough at the moment for the Fever.
No space whatsoever for the West Coast Fever. Collingwood look fired up. They trail by 1, early stages. Stanton finds room and converts from close range.
Well, and that's the way you beat a strong, tight defence. You look over the mess and you go long.
Teague-Neal into possession, Caitlin Thwaites. She misses, but she'll get another opportunity.
Yeah, and this is a rule that Caitlin Thwaites gets another shot. Courtney Bruce just moving off her position. She was out of play. It is just a coach killer because that goal missed. And that doesn't happen very often when you're talking about Caitlin Thwaites.
75% of all of the Collingwood goals this year, Sherelle, have been from Caitlin Thwaites. It's an extraordinary stat.
And she has just been in outstanding form and such a great connection for her. Natalie Medhurst keeping that in. And it's an offside call there from the Fever front line. So a Magpies ball, good defensive pressure again.
Little early wins, which is good for Collingwood. Talk about must win. So much pressure on this Magpies outfit, Sherelle. They've assembled a star-studded lineup, and for a number of different reasons, it just hasn't worked so far.
Yeah, well, it hasn't. And who would have thought at this stage they'd be in 5th position? But that sort of play is what you would expect for the Magpies. How slick was that ball handling? From the corner to the top of the circle, opening into Caitlin Thwaites, and that's what they're capable of.
And they'll have the opportunity to go back-to-back. Collingwood send a pass, Rebellion to Robinson. Thwaites open again. This looks more like the Collingwood we've come to expect, Sherelle.
The umpire there just talking to Courtney Bruce. I think she may have asked the umpire how long she was allowed to take to shoot that goal. But wow, what confidence from Caitlin Thwaites. It's what we come to expect. It's almost like you mark it down when she gets a ball, and that's a contact call against Kaylee Stanton. So the Magpies here just having a bit of a run.
Momentum all in Collingwood's favour at the moment. They lead by 1. Teague-Neal shares with Brownlee. Kim Revaliant is running Verity Charles around all over the court at the moment. And then she finds Caitlin Thwaites.
And that's why having a strong goal attack is important, because the move that Alice Teague-Neal made then, she didn't receive the ball, but it opened Caitlin Thwaites at the back.
She's 6 from 6, and Collingwood have started in wonderful fashion on Friday night Suncorp Super Netball. And now it's Alice Teague-Neal, finds her way through the traffic, and that's very good for her confidence. And a reminder, you can watch all of the action right across the Suncorp Super Netball season and stream it live, fast and data-free, only with Telstra. And if you're a Collingwood supporter, you're enjoying what you're seeing so far.
You are, and that's an unfortunate call for a Valiant. It was a bit of a Fever sandwich between two Magpies player, and I think it was Charles who came up with the ball. That's again another contact call against Kaylee Stanton. She's wearing a lot of body from Shani Layton, which you do when you're playing against these top defenders. She needs to be careful. She's not using those arms to push off and try and hold her space. And you spoke about that, Sherelle, that a couple of weeks ago, Kaylee Stanton came up against Jiva Mentor and struggled. Well, she found it a little bit tough. You know, she is sitting on 4 from 6, so she's certainly getting that volume. But here's another look at the contact from Kalia Stanton. Well, she's just getting the hit in underneath Shani Layton on that occasion. Not a lot in it, but that's the way the umpire saw it.
It's been all Collingwood in quarter number one. Their connections are spot on tonight.
Well, we spoke about the connections. They were failing a little bit at times for the Magpies, but it doesn't get any better than that between Robinson and Thwaites.
A brilliant start, and they lead by 5. Stanton to try and halt the momentum. That's important.
That's the first goal for the Fever in quite some time now, and it was a nice passage of play, nice and confident, crisp and short and sharp.
Thwaites went back to Brazel. There's contact. Big night for Ash Brazel, one of 3 former West Coast Fever players. Thwaites is rarely offline.
First miss for the Magpies in this quarter, so you know that's exactly what they need from Alice, from that goal attack position, and really trying to make the most of the volume of ball that they get from their defence end.
Robinson with a lovely feed. Teagnell with a second opportunity. Make that a third, and she's short.
Well, Jack, I think that's what you call the commentator's curse, because just talking up Alice Teagnell in her first miss.
Sorry, Alice.
Sorry about that, Alice. It's a bit of a tip there from the Fever defence. Another throw-in for the Magpies.
This time rebellion to Thwaites. And Thwaites is offline. Great rebound. Heavy traffic inside the Magpies circle. End result is a good one.
Well, have a look at the Magpies shooting stats. Caitlin Thwaites sitting down at 80%, which you don't see very often. Only the one miss from Alice Teagnell, and that volume, that's okay. We're, you know, 5 minutes to go in this quarter. She's had 3 attempts as she works her way into this match. So that'll be something that they'll want to lift, certainly, but a fine start.
Kalia Stanton cuts the margin back to 4. 4 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Friday night, Suncorp Super Netball. Teagnell back out to Robinson.
Well, there's another attacking contact. So this time it was Alice Teagnell backing into Courtney Bruce, which drew the eye of the umpire. So, you know, they're certainly looking at that, which is good, even though I'm an attacker. And I like to back them as much, you know, they do burrow in sometimes, and that was what was happening. But good defence by the Magpies.
And great pass from Maddie Robinson. The Robinson-Thwaites combination is working beautifully in quarter number 1. I was wondering how you were going to feel about some of those calls, Sherelle. Nat Medhurst into the action with her first score of the night.
Yeah, and how I feel about that drive there from Natalie Medhurst is pretty good. What great timing. It was only her first shot for the game, as you can see there. But great timing into that circle, and she needs to do more of that to take a bit of the pressure off Kalia Stanton.
Fever just starting to settle. But there she is, Shani Layton with the intercept, and they get the ball back. No.
Shani Layton, after all her good work, tried to sneak back on court, but just wasn't quite quick enough.
And her presence is always concerning for the opposition attackers. Long ball for Stanton. It'll be Nat Medhurst. We'll give off to Kalia Stanton. She's in good touch. Shani Layton, she's always around, Sherelle.
Well, she is, and look at her hunting again. She hasn't quite pulled one of those in. Just couldn't quite get herself back on court. She punches her hand, and there's Stacey Francis. How good was that? She's got such good closing speed and the backup from her teammates.
Still tough going. It's been a fast start in this first quarter. It's been quite physical as well. Both teams know what's at stake. The Fever march forward. And Nat Medhurst Tickles around the rim, but in it goes.
And look at Stacey Francis using the outside arm to come around for that tip, flicks it back, and the most important thing, the teams speak a lot about the 1%ers, which include those pick-up balls. When there's a loose ball, when your teammate's flicking a ball like that, you've got to be there to back them up.
Now, this is a really promising finish to this first quarter, Sherelle, for Kaylee Stanton. She's now 8 from 10.
And we've been talking a lot about the Magpies, and they seem to have their connections that they want, but there's only 2 goals in it. And here's another turnover for the Fever. Great defensive work by Nat Medhurst.
And now she's lost the ball. April Branley putting Collingwood into attack. Ball's coming back. Kim Ravellian. Dish off to Caitlin Thwaites. With a minute remaining, Sherelle, it's the old saying, it feels like it's been a quarter of 2 halves in many respects, doesn't it?
I think it's been ebbing and flowing. Both teams have had the ascendancy at different times. Look at that beautiful high shot by Kaylee Stanton. But I think that's what we've had from these teams over the course of the season, that at times they're brilliant and at times they're seriously not, and we're seeing that in this first quarter.
Both teams with their eyes on a top 4 position. It's easier said than done.
Well, it was originally a possession call, which would have kept Courtney Bruce in play, but she went on with it, so it gives Caitlin Thwaites more of a free shot. So Courtney Bruce, she plays with such passion and energy, but she needs to make sure she's keeping herself in check. Heavy fall there by Collier, and it's an offside call.
And a long ball and an intercept. Maddie Robinson just slowing play up. Fever with one last chance. They won't score. Collingwood push forward. Robinson to Thwaites. She couldn't get it up in time. What a terrific first quarter. If this is the entree, then the main meal's going to be absolutely sensational. First quarter gone. Collingwood 14, the West Coast Fever 11 on Suncorp Super Netball.
Slightly delayed our next pass, that's okay, because we've got our multiple options. So don't rush it for the sake of not taking it in quickly, okay?
West Coast Fever coach Stacey Marinkovic seems quite calm. West Coast Fever trailing by 3 after the first quarter. Sherelle McMahon.
Yeah, well, she was mentioning those loose balls. We spoke about that in that first quarter, how crucial they are, and she spoke about the Magpies, how onto it they are. You can see that they're fired up, this Magpies lineup. At times they have been brilliant, but at times the connections are breaking down and the defensive pressure isn't there.
Very different game for the West Coast Fever to their match last week against the Thunderbirds. They were victorious by 17. They're in a fight tonight. Collingwood through Rebellion.
Oh, well, there you go. Another contact call called on an attacking player, this time Maddie Robinson. Called for using her hands to obstruct the player in the front to hold her back. So, well, good start for the Fever, I guess.
Collier links up with Charles over the head of Stanton. Branley got a hand on it. Just couldn't quite pull it in. Kaylee Stanton, who's been excellent for the West Coast Fever. Cuts the margin back to 2. Fever forward again. Medhurst out to Charles, then back to Medhurst. Stanton's such a tall, prominent target, Sherelle.
Yeah, she is, and she's incredibly athletic as well. And I think what makes her challenging to defend is her ability to move and to roll off and to find different space, but also to hold really strongly.
All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, we've been playing less than 90 seconds. And the Fever have cut the deficit back to 1, although you can make that 2. Kelly Stanton fighting off the bodywork of Shani Layton.
Yeah, and the reason she was able to do that was because of Natalie Medhurst's balk fake to the post, which drew the defender, Shani's eye a little bit and opened Kaylee Stanton. So that's a really clever way to open this space. And I mean, that's another way. Don't worry about the defence and just throw it over the top, because that's the sort of form that Caitlin Thwaites is in. What a take.
Nice high long ball.
Yeah, and it wasn't good defensive pressure by the Magpies on that occasion. Fever trying to use the backup, but just running out of time in that 3 seconds.
Rebellion's starting to lift. Robinson likewise. Good take by Alice Teague-Neal.
Strong take by Alice Teague-Neal under all sorts of pressure by Francis.
And now she's on the end of the pass. And she just squeezes it home. Just.
Oh, gee, it's not a super confident shot, is it? That one that just rolls over the front edge. But there she is putting up her 4th shot and 3rd goal. So, you know, she's in there playing her role. It's
that one position in the Collingwood 7, Sherelle, that still seems as if they're trying to work out the best fit, doesn't it?
Oh, certainly. And in fact, Alice Teague-Neal hasn't been on the court for a few weeks. And so, you know, for her to be able to come out here and step in, still play with confidence and trust in her game and trust in her teammates is the challenge for her.
Collingwood by 3. Early stages of quarter number 2 on Suncorp Super Netball. Shani Layton with the intercept, ball out of play.
Mate, that was such a great tip. She was out at the transverse line and her recovery was amazing to get a hand on that ball.
Good defensive pressure by Kim Rebellion as well. Amelia Stanton to make it 13. She's putting on some sort of display. Not a lot of noise, as you can imagine, for the West Coast Fever when they score. But they love this. Caitlin Thwaites extends that lead back to 3. 4 minutes played, 2nd quarter. Almost a turnover. Medhurst just lost her handle for a moment. Ball's on the floor. This favours Layton.
Well, there you go, Coach. Stacey Marinkovic asked for her players to be strong on those loose balls, and it doesn't get, you know, that example, it doesn't get much better than that. Kaylee Stanton chased that down with absolute determination. Here it is. Let's have a look at this ball rolling through people's leagues. Kaylee Stanton, you've got Shani Layton on your back. That is some good work. Nice and strong.
Kept her eye on the ball the whole time. Wasn't worried about what was happening around her. Caitlin Thwaites is in very good touch tonight.
Well, she just keeps on her merry way. 17 from 19. That was a drive through the front. You know, we often see her on the hold. But that is the sort of thing she can do. We speak about Kaylee Stanton, her ability to vary her play, and Caitlin Thwaites can certainly do that.
It's the Fever. They're doing everything they can. And they trail by 3. They're doing it the hard way at the moment. Collingwood press forward and press forward quickly. Villiam with the feed.
I really enjoyed that play, Jacob.
I could see you smiling, yeah.
She was under all sorts of defensive pressure there. Another loose ball get to the Fever. That'll be something that the Magpies want to address, but Caitlin Thwaites just kind of snuck through a gap almost. Yep. Waited for the defence to peel off, and that is such a clever way to do it. Wait for the ball to do the work, the defenders to leave the space open for you.
Fever made the most of their second opportunity. Collingwood still by 3. 8 minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter in Suncorp Super Netball. Friday night action. Turnover.
Yeah, and the reason that happened is because Alice Teague-Neal stepped into the defensive pressure from Courtney Bruce. She held her position and it was a held ball.
Verity Charles has been busy in his second term, running around Kim Rebellion, which is normally Kim Rebellion's MO.
Yeah, well, Charles has been having a fine game. She's been feeding the circle the most out of any of the Fever players, so she's certainly finding her way into a good position on that circle edge. So that'll be something that the Magpies will want to address.
Stacey Francis with the long pass to Medhurst. Contact against Rebellion. Medhurst active inside the circle. No-look pass.
No-look pass, and I mean, Natalie Medhurst, when she is at her best, has just got such silky smooth skills and timing into that circle.
Pulling out all of the tricks, and the Fever trail by 1.
Oh, Stacey Francis absolutely attacked that ball. She loved it. Look at that smile and couldn't quite keep it in. Here's another look at that Francis attack on the ball. Maddie Robinson trying to find somewhere, uses the pocket. Oh, she so nearly had that, and it would have been a great intercept.
It just hung in the air long enough, didn't it? Stanton off the 1-2, makes it her 17th. Back to 1, the difference.
Alice Teague-Neal is doing a lot of work on this transverse line for the centre pass receives. She has received 11, and Maddie Robinson has received 7, and that's not something you often see. Maddie Robinson has often dominating that stat. So, you know, one thing that Teague-Neal is doing very well is really getting out there and making that play. Look at that. She's well and truly leading the stat for the game. So great work out there, but she does need to get herself back in. She shot 3 goals for this half so far, so she needs to get herself back in the circle as well and be a presence there.
And is part of that to make Stacey Francis accountable so that she can't spend more time guarding around the area where Caitlin Thwaites is?
Well, I'm sure that that's part of what it is. It seems to be setting up this way. Let's have a look at how this Magpie set up. That one was for Maddie Robinson, but it's an interesting one when that happens, because there you see Maddie Robinson collects the centre pass, and there you see Alice Teague-Neal working the baseline. So they need to be able to vary that and get Alice back there.
Red card potential, but just a couple of yellow cards shown so far to Jacopo, LaRocca and Isaac's. Half-time at Amy Park as Melbourne City get into a huddle. Melbourne City 1, Adelaide United 0. Let's go down to Zappers.
Yeah, thanks, Brenton. Neil Kilkenny joins me. Neil, let's go for a walk. Michael Valkanis asked for a reaction tonight. We've certainly seen it in that first half.
I can be bold.
I think we've had a few chances, great header from Timmy, and hopefully we can keep it up, you know, hopefully we can do it.
Never.
Spoke about Timmy playing a different role tonight. Is he playing a little bit deeper than what we've seen him in the last few weeks?
Hey, I'm passionate.
You know, in his younger days,
I love
he
the
played
rain,
probably
the scent of romance, and the glamour a little bling.
Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
I'm
All right,
Gina.
plenty to talk about at half-time here at Amy Park. Adam and the boys will join you after this short break.
The new fragrance for women.
How's this for a night to remember? No clue how you found the place. But aren't you glad you did?
Sit back and watch. Absorb
Same as the
every
cash
pulsating second. Plenty more twists in this one.
Where to next?
Will Sydney FC terminate Wellington's finals hopes?
Magic is how the world makes itself new every minute, every day.
Can Barisha blast his 100th
moment doing the
A-League
thing, the
goal?
next this thing's being applied to 700 of your best friends.
Clinch their spot in the finals.
Now you're talking to
Classy
Granny.
was that?
As a whole,
Saturday's massive triple header. Live and
with all this
exclusive
magic,
on
you're not
Fox
just going to need a
Sports.
bigger network. You're going to need a whole new kind of
Delicious Angus beef, sizzling
one that's
bacon,
ready for
and a
all its
hint of
edge.
truffle. It's the new Angus truffle and cheese.
That's the
A
drive.
network fast enough to handle your new phone. No, not that one. The one you can get next to you. A network that travels with you, far from home.
This is going to be the most one-sided game of the group.
A network that can make a store talk to a cow, the cow to a farmer, a truck to your fridge to your car. Hang on, there's nobody driving the car. Oh, that's right.
To fly that night, but with the air traffic strike, they arrived later on bank holiday. So
It's a magical time of their life, and a new kind of network that
they'll be getting used to the extra bounce and pace during the game.
As a crisis continues to unfold in Queensland,
this heavy rain and heavy winds will continue for at least the next few days.
The system absolutely lashing anything in its path.
Water hits.
We'll do whatever it takes to get there as quickly as we
On and off the park, I only surround myself with the elite.
Cahill with the initial touch to bring it under his control.
And the more hungry, the more determined to get to this ball was Timmy Cahill. He's clearly onside. That's a decent first touch as well.
This is the moment when you realised even though a Sunday
You too
market
can join the
didn't
elite
sound
with
like your
Samsung.
thing, it was so your thing. All right, listen, Cashco. Where to next?
They did not score off one of their turnovers in that quarter. And that's the intensity that you need to maintain. And now we need to lift our 50% of scoring off our turnovers up to 80 and above. Okay, when you get that ball involved, we need more double plays to create the space for each other. When you get more depth, it opens up the space. So make sure we've got depth between the two of you. One long, one short.
Christy Keppinsbarrel, the coach of Collingwood, she can sense that her team are in the box seat, 41-33 after 3 quarters.
It's an incredible life to
The West Coast Fever will kick things off in quarter number 4, Friday night action on Suncorp Super Netball. And there's Nat Medhurst straight into the action, Sherelle.
Great to see her stepping up and taking that role because her shooting partner, her young, inexperienced shooting partner needs that.
No pitch.
The third quarter numbers were insane. Take a look as Alice Teague-Neal misses. Stacey Francis with the rebound. You can see the scoring momentum here, Sherelle.
Yeah, and I think it tells a really great story of how even it was a Fever in front just for a short time in that first quarter. And from there, it's been the Magpies fairly even, but look at that explosion at the end of that third quarter, totally dominated by the Magpies.
13-6 in the third term in favour of Collingwood. Nice take from Stanton.
I can shout and scream.
It was a tough quarter for her. She was 3 from 9.
All at the same
She's
time.
25 from 34 for the match.
I'm a member of the world's favourite online sports betting company. I'm
Contact against Rebellion.
at Bet365. Gamble
Verity
responsibly.
Charles. Feeding Medhurst. Just absolutely faked out Shani Layton. Have a nice pass to Kalia Stanton.
Baby spinach and tomato onion relish. Macca's Gourmet Creations.
Fever have scored the first 2 in this 4th term. One of the other stats, Sherelle, that really jumped out was the Fever with 14 turnovers for the term.
Welcome back to Amy Park.
They've only had 24 for the
Adelaide
match.
United nil on the
massive
first ever
start,
match.
and I really just think
The
that
VAR,
is
the video assistant
pressure
referee,
that
has been called upon.
From
And, well, there was a little bit to consider in that first half. More on that in a moment. But firstly, all the football. Tim Cahill separates the two sides. We're about to have a look at
and
that.
confusion really for this Fever front
The
line.
latter
A few
stages
missed
of that
goals and
first
that
half.
played
Melbourne
into
City
their hands as
dominating,
well.
really. Total shots 10 to 1.
Collier had to
Shots
reach
on
back for the
target,
ball.
7 to 1. Balls in the area.
Stanton.
Adelaide United like to have all season there.
Charles, there's Shani
Balls in the
Layton.
area. The shots on target ratio.
She
is
knew what was
abysmal,
coming, and
it's
she put herself
continued
in
tonight.
exactly the right
10%
position for the
You're
intercept.
going to go on those figures. Welcome back. We've got former Socceroo goal-scoring great Josh Kennedy with me at half-time, where Travis Dodd takes a break after being called into commentary.
Bit more meticulous here in the build-up.
Josh, we'll start with the best moment in that first half. What Tim Cahill did. You scored a few with
against
it,
Courtney
a
Bruce.
few famous ones at that. How difficult was it, what he did?
Extremely difficult. Not only to get the ball where he wants it to go, but the ball
Unlucky in a
delivered
way
into
there
that
for
corner.
Stacey Francis. She just put so much pressure over that shot and contact at the end, of course. So
this is years of
that was the
experience,
reason why Caitlin Dwight's got
knowing
a
where
free
to go,
shot.
knowing how to flick it,
Just
how
needs
hard
to
he
hold
needs to
herself
flick it.
up for a fraction
It
of a
almost
second
comes off the
longer.
back of his head, and he doesn't even see where the goal is where he flicks that in.
Nothing to do with power, what he's done there. It's all...
That time, Stacey Francis did everything within the rules.
Slight touch, it's
she
finesse,
absolutely
and
did.
that
It doesn't
comes
get
of years of
cleaner
practice of
than
him
that
doing
as an
that.
intercept
And we've
right
seen
up
it
in
for years
front.
as well. So
Great
for us, it comes as
position,
no
strong
surprise.
take.
But what a moment in the game.
Just rolling a bit of
you reckon it was
green through the
a
head
challenge
tonight by the
about
looks of it,
halfway
Stacey
through that
Francis.
first half.
Sounds like
He might have
rock a bit of
been
that.
self-inflicted as well. After
Fever green, we'll call it.
Sure, but he looked a bit proppy at stages.
Yeah, he didn't look too
Stanton
good after
short.
that. He
Layton
had a
with the
moment to
rebound.
pause and sort of regather himself. And we see here in the change room, he's got ice in that shin that looks like whether he got studded in the shin or something else around that calf area. But it's important now he stays on, hopefully, for that second half.
Why Melbourne
had to
City
scrap
looking so
after the ball.
dangerous
She
when they
did
go
well,
forward
Alice
as opposed
Teague-Neal.
to Adelaide United?
It was a loose ball win for Collingwood.
I think in that front third, Palazzo's been very impressive with a few great balls in the box. Kamau's, I think, getting better as the game goes on.
Start to this final term.
For me, Adelaide get to a certain point when they have the ball going forward, they run out of ideas. Where Melbourne City corner roll is still
she continues her good shooting form. She's 38 from 41, Sherelle.
They have these 3 or 4 guys that can still cause problems in the game.
Is it working that Tim is playing a little bit deeper, further away from Bruno Fornaroli than what he has been?
Using Verity Charles.
Well, I'd like to see Bruno with a little bit more
little
space
win for Kaylee Stanton.
In play. Saying balls early, it clogs Bruno up.
Still trail.
And it draws players to him. Where
you can watch all of the action right across the Suncorp Super Netball season. You can stream it live, fast,
Adelaide
and
United,
data-free.
So you
Only
reckon
with
they're just a bit muddled still when they get to that final third?
3 games remaining in round 8.
I think Melbourne City
a couple of very important ones as well.
A great deal of pressure. We've seen a couple of times with Telekovic playing out as well.
Thunderbirds and Vixens.
Sherelle,
has got all the makings of a cracker tomorrow.
It absolutely does, and I think for the Vixens, they've come off the back of a couple of big games for them, a huge win against the Magpies in the return. What they dubbed the
here right now, we're going to finish the game with 11 on 11 because LaRocca and Fornaroli, there's been a couple of instances where they've got in each other's grill.
They don't want to have a bit of a down game after that big
it's good to see there's passion and aggression in the game. I don't think there's much in this instance.
I'm sure the Thunderbirds will be wanting to
I think yellow's fair. I think
Firebirds and the Giants also do battle, as do the Swifts and the Lightning.
Next to an opposition player. And the same thing, I think Bruno milks that one a little bit.
We lead by 7.
For me, a fair
1.5 remaining in this final quarter.
Now the VAR was in discussions with Chris Jones.
Just sitting outside the top 4
from
bracket.
The VAR because he reckoned it was handled well on pitch by Chris Jones. The VAR, importantly, can't rule on a second yellow card, only a straight red, so that's why I didn't get involved in the yellow one.
She rims out, waits with the rebound.
Yeah, she's under there and everything. Caitlin Waits. Fortunately, not finished off by Alice Teagnell because it was such great fight. Her timing was beautiful on that play. It's just that finish that, she's still
fingers crossed. We'll find out in the second half, but a lot of pain straight away there for Tarek Ellis.
Nicely done, April Brownlee. She just got a fingertip on the pass.
Keep you updated throughout the evening. We're off to a short break.
Created an opportunity.
Not too
now
far
she's
away
thrown
here
it away.
from Amy Park to Melbourne City. Keep going.
The reason was because of the great defensive work of Stacey Francis. She has been fantastic. She was moving, confusing the space, and came through with a great intercept.
And the Fever get reward for effort. 7 the difference. Both teams
7:30 Tuesday.
Through the best part of 3 quarters.
This Angus beef, sizzling bacon, and a hint of truffle. It's the new Angus and cheese.
That's the drive-through.
The Macca's Gourmet Creations range.
She's not afraid to put up that,
on and off the park,
that long shot, but she is getting a lot of her shots from under the post, which just shows you how well she's using her body and how well the mid-court, really understanding that ball.
Timmy Cale is clearly onside.
Rims that one in.
First touch as well.
She's practicing a lot of those bombs before the game, Nat Medhurst.
You too can join the elite with Samsung.
Robinson's first pass chopped off, back to Brandley. Back to Brazel, sorry. Now Robinson, that's a nice feed to Caitlin Thwaites. And a nice take too.
Yeah, we were talking in the third quarter about the forced passes that were happening from both sides, but that was a great patience. Maddie Robinson was almost on the circle edge, played it back to the transverse line to try and find something else, and they did. It opened up really well.
When it's in your blood.
Everything that the West Coast Fever have thrown at Collingwood in this 4th term, the Magpies have had the answers for.
They're all worth it.
Just have not been able to bridge this gap. You can see here, Sherelle, it was all the damage done in the 3rd quarter for Collingwood.
Well, there does seem to be a scoring in for whatever reason that is, and the Fever do have the 1 goal advantage here, but they need more than that. They need to start clawing things back.
This is going to be the most one-sided game of the group. Group leaders will struggle, but they get behind early. They haven't conceded an away goal all tournament.
Their last league game was Sunday afternoon, which means a day's less rest.
They were due to fly that night, but with the air traffic strike, they arrived late on a bank holiday.
So I got caught in the carnival. Isn't their only chance of training a hotel view up you could put? They'll be getting used to the
We spoke so much about the duel tonight between Caitlin Thwaites and Courtney Bruce.
Unibet. Buy punters, 4 punters.
Verity Charles controls the ball.
No team.
Medhurst to settle. And it bounces around the ring. How have you seen Sherelle, the battle between Thwaites and Bruce?
No problem. The battle between Caitlin Thwaites and Courtney Bruce, I think, has been won by Caitlin Thwaites. She's sitting on 43 from 46. Courtney Bruce has been penalised 18 times, stood out of play, and I think that's an indication of her wanting to get the ball, but the inability to get around the hold of Caitlin Thwaites. That was a really good example of it. She just holds that front space so well, and it's tough to get around and easy to give that penalty away. So after an MVP performance last week by Courtney Bruce, it fortunately hasn't been up to that, but tough opponent. Caitlin Thwaites just in outstanding form.
Collingwood lead by 9. Off the feet of Kalia Stanton, and the Magpies will get the ball back. Starting, the longer the game has gone, the better Collingwood's connections have been. And that's a nice pass from Alice Teague-Neal to Rebellion.
Gamble responsibly. Harvey Norman for all your connected fitness and health products.
Caitlin Thwaites.
New gourmet creation is now available in drive-thru.
Outstanding.
And now,
so precise.
more than money.
50 to 41. Make that 51 to 41.
Welcome back to Amy Park.
It's 10 to 8 this quarter, so Collingwood, again, Sherelle, they would have been keen to win this quarter and to finish the game well, and they're doing that at the moment.
Yeah, they are. And look, I think this has been not a complete performance by the Magpies. There we see maybe a timeout being requested by the Magpies coach who say, oh no, it's an injury timeout here from a...
As we wind down into the final minute of this fourth term, Collingwood's second half has been super impressive. Shani Layton has led the way. A long ball to Brown, which she can control, but her pass is intercepted. Jess Ants just gets the ball back.
Move to the Central Coast Mariners next season.
Oh, there you go, Michaela Wilson. Welcome to Suncorp Super Netball. What an intercept. She read that so well.
There's one forward. Kilkenny actually the furthest forward on that occasion. Didn't read it.
Francis came charging out.
Inquiry on the run. I'm afraid to have those with
30 seconds remaining.
Kilkenny. That's on Jakobsen.
Nice pass from Shea Brown.
Talking it over.
She's getting involved in the match.
Stuck inside.
It has been a complete second half performance, Sherelle McMahon.
It has, and that is the 50th goal by Caitlin Thwaites. Really an outstanding game by her. Just such a focal point and so strong in that attack end for the Magpies.
50 from 54, if you don't mind.
That's not bad.
A late consolation for Kalia Stanton.
From movement.
But the Collingwood netball team needed to win tonight. It was super important in Super Netball. And they chalk up a big win in their season. 56 to 43 in front of a loud crowd. And they'll be very proud of their team tonight, Sherelle.
And they should be, because this was a huge game for the Magpies. They've been searching for form. They actually haven't been too far off the mark in this season. But really, they brought it home in the second half in this game, winning 16 to 28. So it was a comprehensive performance in this second half. And this could be something that springboards them forward. We haven't seen the form that we expected to from the Magpies in the first half of this season. Maybe this is the beginning of something great.
Sometimes in a season, there are turning points. And you can't help but wonder after tonight, just a comprehensive domination in the second half. Could this be the turning point?
Well, I think it absolutely could. You know, I would say for sure that the Magpies will sit down and look at that game and acknowledge that there is a lot of work that still needs to be done. They have 31 turnovers, so that's quite high, and they'll look at that. They'll look at the defensive pressure that came in the second half that maybe ebbed and flowed a little bit for them at different times. So there's certainly things to work on, but this is an impressive performance from this side who were under a lot of pressure.
They've been searching to try and pick the lock, to try and get some momentum going in Super Netball. And maybe tonight is the night. As you said, Sherelle, 28-16 in the second half. It was a terrific performance, and it was engineered by one of the stars of Collingwood, Shani Layton, who's with Laura Spellman.
Now, Shani, you really stepped up the pressure in the second half. That's a great win, isn't it?
Yeah, we really needed to as well. It was a bit tight going in there at half-time, and we knew that we had to lift the intensity.
What was it like up against the young player there? You could tell that she had her head a bit down after you really went at her in the second half.
Look, Kaylee is amazing, you know. I've had a few touches with her before, and she's so strong into that ring. And, you know, the more she grows, she's a very dangerous player.
The news not great for Tarek Elrich. We spoke to the team doctor at the break, and she does suspect it is an ACL injury. He's in a lot of pain. He's on crutches, as you can see, and he's heading now straight to the Epworth Hospital just around the corner for scans to get some more news on that injury, but they do suspect it is an ACL. He did land awkwardly, and that's what they were most concerned about. Just an update on Tim Cale as well. He just received a knock in that.
It was a big game for the Fever. Unfortunately, they come away short. Laura Spellman's got that answering the
I do, thanks, Jack. Now, that it was a really close start, but they just seemed to pull away in the second half there.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot to do with ourselves. We're to blame for that. We got a lot of ball, and we just didn't capitalise on it. And obviously, they called the third quarter the premiership quarter, and you know, Magpies really took advantage of that. But yeah, as I said, we just didn't treasure the ball when we were getting it, and that's what's really disappointing.
And obviously, it looked like things were getting a little bit tough there in the shooting circle as well.
Yeah, that's a given. You're coming up against two Aussie defenders, and we expect that. I mean, that's nothing unusual. So we've got to be better than that to be able to take on those balls and be strong in the air. Or the other option is to be smart and look at other options to work it around. And yeah, as I said, I think we've played a lot into their hands. And you know, heading into the bye, we've got to make sure that we still really train hard and do the right things to keep becoming a better team.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Great honesty from Nat Medhurst. And for the West Coast Fever, it's a loss that they did not need. The top four is tight, and Collingwood have put their hands up with a big win tonight in front of their home crowd at Hisense Arena, 56-43. We'll be back after the break with the Suncorp post-match wrap.
All sorts of breathing out there with Rucho at the moment. Great ball down the line, and
we have
now
the
just
best
found himself in that space, and again the confidence is up.
And then all of that changed.
Willing to run at players, great little turn inside, the slip from LaRocca, just that final product. Right idea, just unable to execute it.
I wanted to hurt him, I told him the bag wasn't his.
Adelaide really have to look at doing something in that area of the field, whether it's how we can make this work.
This is
over to deal with Canal, but sort of getting the better of Garucho at the moment.
Well, that's where they lost Tarek Elrich, of course, and the reshuffle occurred. Yes, and Kilkenny went at it there, and Sayers reeled away after a little backhander. Kilkenny. Keeping an eye on things, a little pat on the back to Sayers, saying cut out the nonsense when he can, and look out! They're at it again. To number 8.
We've got to be getting close to tipping point one way or another.
This heavy rain and these heavy winds could continue for at least the next few days.
The system absolutely lashing anything in its path.
Wow. He's in behind. We'll do whatever it takes. Control it. It's all over Garucho at the moment.
That's, for me, that's just bad defending from Garucho. Not aware of where his opponent is.
We know Suncorp will be there to look after us
running
again.
behind off his shoulder. Until he's 2-3 metres past him, that Garucho realised what was going on. Saying that he's done well to get back and put the pressure on Canal.
They traded places in the off-season. Traded places on that occasion. Now behind. We've seen plenty Park Cloud. Green has a look over the shoulder, knows Kamau is there. Turns away from trouble. Like to play attacking football more so than that defensive side, which he's working on. Zardes pluck it ahead of Milausnic. Roll is backing in to the rocker, keeping it in two, pretty crafty. And then he's fouled by the rocker.
How the world makes itself new every minute,
He's on the
every
yellow
day.
card.
Well, Rocco looked pretty amused at the way Fornaroli went down, but great body initially. Body work from Fornaroli on Rocco to shove him out of the way, and then does really well to kick the ball in and win the foul when there wasn't a lot else on.
The second foul. That's a foul by Jakobsen. Sliding in from behind on Diawara. Adelaide United conceded from a corner for the first time all season in the first half. They lead the way with 4 goals from corners.
Ja, und so geht das. Applaus für Tanja Hübeli. Hat sie den 17. Punkt mit dem Hockey Abwärts.
Substitutes. Watch on. Close ball. Kyrio's done brilliantly to keep it in at least.
Und jetzt sind sie dann auf die Grünen 18 zu 10. Wir wechseln wieder auf eine Vorsprung von 8 Punkten. Side switch, 18-10. Aber jetzt gemacht ist der Heller 11 zu 18. Hier steht jetzt Satz Nummer 1. 11, 18.
For Garuccio. Kirin took it in his stride, and as a result, Melbourne City have it back pretty quick.
Ja, schön gemacht. Das war nächster Ball in die Ecke hinein. Und Werner Schmitz. 12 zu 19.
Melbourne City would be below Brisbane only on goal difference as it stands in the race for that third spot, which could be crucial.
Und jetzt macht der Dynamit-Jahr dafür den Salzburg.
3 derby coming up.
Set point for Team Green. Dynamit-Jahr, Tanja Hübeli.
27 as well as that race for third spot. Plenty on the line here tonight.
Ja, Dynamit-Jahr. Coolest ice.
Mixing it up with Cahill again.
Yes, that's.
He has a look over his shoulder at his mentor and says, hang on a minute.
We were mates a few days ago.
Number 1.
Go. Selfies on Instagram.
You were getting me into the first class league. And there's KYTO. Markovic just chips it. Skippers away. Part of the game. No yellow card for all those fouls committed by Tim Cahill so far.
Guter Start jetzt vom Team Gelb 1:0. Service aus von HUAWEI. Zweite Runde war bis zu lang von der Red Judge. Aber er passt genau zu. Und wir klatschen mit dem Tag. Komm on, clap your hands.
He'll done it again. Amazing analysis on that one in the post-game show as well. Getting some insight from the boys back in the lab as well.
Schöner Punkt.
It's for Cahill again. And not quite kept it. It's the last touch. Goal kick.
Not a bad ball in there from Bratton, just a little bit high even for someone with a great leap like Tim Cahill.
This time it breaks for Cahill. He can't quite keep it in. Well, it puts it in perspective, that first half header from Cahill that we're all in awe of. Couldn't get over the top of this one. That is the first goal that the Reds have conceded all season from a corner.
But what can you do with a player like that? No right to be scoring from that kind of angle. He's took the magic out of the hat.
Just stuck in front of Isaias.
Hier braucht Owen angeschlagen. Und wir sehen von der Schiedsrichterin zuletzt 4:4. Mit dem Ausgleich 5:5. Let's score by the flag.
Making a great run across the box, across the 6-yard box in the front post. Now just close to Eugene Glavkovich.
Für Nina und Tanja im zweiten Platz. 6:5 kann er überleben. New score 6:5.
Here's Karuska. Eyes in the back of his head, finding the series.
Keep that clean sheet. It's going to be massive.
Tiawara doesn't take on the strike, sends Meliorznich wide. Now SAES looking for that top corner. Remember Carlos Hernandez doing it.